Hello guys, I'm back with a new video, and this video will discuss everything that we covered about objects in the previous video, and we will relate that to arrays and functions. So let us start. So what are arrays? Arrays were objects too. The only difference is that the keys are predetermined to be whole numbers. They are 0, 1, 2 and so on by default. Also, while creating an array, the keys are automatically set. So if you use the typeof operator on an array, you will get an object. So let us see it in implementation. Suppose I declare an array and I say array of names, and I define the array of names as Pratik. I say Sean, Alex, and then I log to the console type of the names array. So what do you expect here? Your answer might be an array, but no. Since array is an object in JavaScript, you will get the type of names as an object. So let us see the output by running the script. So in the terminal, we will write simply write node objects arrays and functions.js, which is this file, and let us see the output for this. As you can see, the output is coming out to be an object. So an array is an object. That concludes that. Then let us try logging the object entries to the console. So we'll say console.log. Console.log object.entries and simply pass the names property to this object.entries names, and let us try running the script again. We say node object arrays and functions.js. So what do you expect to get? As you can see, we are getting the index and the value pertaining to that index. At the very first index, which is the 0th index, you are having the element Pratik. Then at the index 1 you have Sean, which is at the second position in the array, and then at the index 2, which is at the third position of the array, you get Alex. So you are getting a list of lists. The first list represents the very first element of the array with its index and the corresponding value that is sitting at that index, and so on. So you know arrays have length property denote the number of items in an array that is managed by JavaScript. From the example you can see object.entries is returning us a key value pair of the array object. Here the key is the index of the element and the value is the element itself. So that is the difference between an object which has an explicit key that is being shown to us when you define an object, but here we have a key which is implicitly defined under the hood, which is the index. At the index the element is sitting. At the 0th index we have Pratik, at the index 1 we have Sean, at index 2 we have Alex. So that is a key takeaway to take from arrays. Next is we talk about functions. So again, functions are objects too. Okay, so to conclude, the above 3 lines of code can give you a fair amount of reasoning, a fair amount of conclusion that arrays are objects too. Okay, and functions are objects too. So to prove this, specifically these objects with the internal property, the call method, which is symbolized as this, you call, which is an internal JavaScript property, it is internally defined and it is not accessible to us. Okay, so I will cover these properties in a later video where I will be covering all the properties like enumerable, configurable, and how we can freeze the key value pairs of an object. So stay tuned for those videos as well. And let us see an example for this functions. So we say function and simply say random function, and let us say this returns math.random, some random value into into say 100. So this is our random function. So let us try logging the type of random function. So what do you expect to get in this case? If we try running a script, we will get, we should get an object here. No, we are getting a function. Okay, so why so? If we do type of function, we are getting the function instead of object. This is because of the ECMAScript specification says so. Okay, otherwise you should remember that functions are objects only. But if you are logging the type of the function, this will return us the function because it is according to the ECMAScript specification. Okay, so but to prove that these functions are objects only, let us see this code. Okay, I will define some properties, some key value pairs on this function, on random function. I will define a property, say name, and I will set that to Pratik, and then I will say random function dot address, and I set that to earth. And setting our own properties can also be done, which we can say using random function, and we can use the square brace syntax, specify the address property in this, and simply set earth. So let us see how it works. I will log the random function now to see the structure we are getting for the random function, and I will say node objects arrays and functions.js. You can see we are getting the function, a function constructor. It's saying colon random function, and it has an object in which you have an address property. Okay, and you also have the, here we can't see the name property. And why is this the case? Let us try accessing random function dot name and see what we get. So here we are getting just a random function. So it is not allowing us to access the random function dot name property. So as you can see, if I log the random function address to the console, random function dot address to the console, and let us try running the script again. And here you can see we are getting earth. So here you can see that the function have certain properties on them by default. Okay, so name is one of them, which stores the name of the function. Okay, and therefore we cannot override that. And like we were trying to do on line number 16, we were trying to change the name property that is implicitly defined by JavaScript on the random function. So the random function name property holds the value of random function. We were trying to override that with Pratik. So that is why that log gave us random function, as you can see on the log. Okay, it was not overridden by Pratik. And in the case of line 17, random function dot address, it's allowed because you are defining a new property on the random function, which itself is an object. So name is one of the properties which stores the name of the function. Okay, the name will give us the random function, which was the original name of the declared function. You can also add your own properties, as you can see on line number 17, or you can define more stuff on this. You can say random function dot friends. Let us define this as a list of friends, Sean, Alex, and let us try logging the friends to the console. So random function dot friends. For this you will get the output again, but if you try to log random function dot name, you will only get the random function itself. Okay, you cannot override the name property for the random function. So that's a key takeaway from this. Okay, so to conclude, I would like to say that address here is added to the normal random function and later read like a normal property. So we have discussed quite a few things about objects in the previous videos, but we have barely touched the surface, and there's another layer of JavaScript objects that I will cover later in the videos. So stay tuned guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and please share the video with your friends as well in case you are enjoying the content. And I also have a Patreon channel where you can support my content. Your support will give me fuel to bring more such quality content for you. Thanks a lot guys.